Hey, welcome everybody. Thank you for getting on the webinar tonight. Tonight we're talking about how to keep your heart strong, how to keep it healthy. Thank you guys. Thank you patients for coming on tonight. I know we've been encouraging you the last couple of weeks to get on this webinar tonight. Mainly I'm going to be sharing with you guys how to prevent heart disease, how to prevent your chance of having a heart attack or a stroke, how to keep your heart strong, how to keep it healthy. And I'm excited that you guys are getting on, that you're going to learn this tonight, whether you're watching it live or you're going to watch this later. I hope that you learn a lot, and I hope that this really does help to keep your heart going strong and keeping it healthy. So I'm Dr. Katie Benson. If you are watching this and you're not a patient in our office, I am a wellness doctor here in Marysville, and just have a passion to teach people how to live a healthy lifestyle, how to prevent disease, and really how to get their bodies working amazing. So let's get into the heart tonight. So our heart's amazing. Hold up your fist, put it on your chest. That's about the size of your heart. Your heart's main job is to pump blood throughout your body. It delivers oxygen, it delivers nutrients, and it removes waste. And your heart, on average, pumps about 2,000 gallons of blood every single day. And it pumps it through 60,000 miles of blood vessels, arteries, veins in our body. That's pretty amazing. So why do we need to learn about this tonight? Why is it important that you're on here taking time? Because 1 in 4 deaths in America are from heart disease. 650,000 deaths per year are from this disease, and 1 in every 38 seconds, somebody dies of heart disease. When we look at the cost of heart disease, 1 million stents per year are performed on people in America, and over 500,000 bypass surgeries. The average cost of a bypass surgery, $40,000. And the thing with heart disease is that almost all of heart disease is preventable through a proper lifestyle. So you can absolutely prevent your risk of ever having a heart attack or a stroke or having a bypass surgery if you really start to embrace some of these lifestyle changes that I'm going to be teaching. Heart disease is big money though. The average American Americans fill, if you read this, 5.8 billion prescriptions every single year. This was in 2018, still the same today. And 17.6 prescriptions per person are filled in our country every single year, but 5.8 billion prescriptions is what Americans filled. And we look at this list, these top medications right now, they are all well, number 1 was for pain, but number 2, high cholesterol, high blood pressure. You look through the list, a majority of these medications that people are filling are for heart disease related issues. And I just want to dive into tonight, we're going to really get to the causes of heart disease versus I think what kind of mainstream medicine teaches people is that, well, it's your family history. You have high blood pressure because that's what your dad had, or you have heart disease because that runs on your mom's side of the family. It's just some type of bad luck or bad genes. And we know that really is not the case. Through lifestyle, you can actually change the expression of your genes. It's called epigenetics, is that your lifestyle and the actions you take and how you take care of your body can actually turn on or turn off certain genes. So even if you do have heart disease in your family, you can actually, through lifestyle, make sure that that's not expressing in your own life. But we kind of start to think well, is heart disease caused from a cholesterol drug deficiency? Or maybe it's caused from a high blood pressure medication deficiency? No, that a lack of these drugs is not causing heart disease. So why are this is kind of the go-to versus changing lifestyle should be the real cause, but none of these things cause heart disease. We're going to really dive into the lifestyle factors. But just kind of diving into the Lipitor, $162 billion in sales. It's the all-time leader. The pharmaceutical industry refers to Lipitor as it's the cash cow. It's the main moneymaker of medications. And as a result of that, 1 in 3 or 30% of American men and women age 40 and over take a statin. Over 30% of Americans. That's absolutely crazy. And we see is that there are way more heart disease medications, way more, blood pressure medications, cholesterol medications, but we are not seeing the decline of heart disease. In fact, it's just stayed steady, and it's actually continuing to increase year after year. So obviously, are these medications working? Are they really reducing deaths? And when you look at the numbers, they're not. This was a study that was done by a famous heart surgeon. And in his analysis, they did over 1,700 patients, and they looked at those that had atherosclerotic disease, heart disease, and they found that there was no correlation between their blood cholesterol levels and the extent of the atherosclerotic or the plaquing in their arteries. No correlation between the level of their blood cholesterol and the extent of their heart disease or their plaquing in their arteries. Multiple studies have been done where they're questioning, do statin drugs really work? Do they really reduce people's risk of dying of a heart attack or a stroke? And multiple studies have found, very similar to what this study says, is there's no benefit. People age 65 and older, no matter how much they get their cholesterol to drop with a drug, that does not result in also a resulting like decline in their risk of dying from a heart attack or a stroke. So I just kind of want to talk about cholesterol and just understanding what is HDL, what is LDL. And this is something I think may shock people, is that there's no such thing as good and bad cholesterol. That actually, though, that is a fictitious term. But LDL is the bad cholesterol that everybody's calls bad cholesterol, and that HDL is the good. But they are not actually even cholesterol. They are a lipoprotein that transports cholesterol. That's what LDL and HDL is. That's not even cholesterol. They are the transporters of cholesterol throughout the body. If you look at this study here at the bottom of the slide, it talks about a report from the British Medical Journal, and they looked at 19 studies involving 68,000 elderly people. And they found that there was actually an inverse relationship between high LDL and mortality, concluding that it was inconsistent with the cholesterol hypothesis, meaning that those that had high HDL, they had the lower risk of mortality, an inverse relationship. It wasn't as LDL increased, their rates of heart disease increased. It was as LDL was higher, their rates of death was actually lower. And they studied 68,000 elderly people in over 19,000 studies, and they all show the same thing, is that cholesterol by nature is not actually causing people to die. It's not this bad, evil thing that we have been kind of taught that it is. So LDL, it's actually a low density lipoprotein. Its function is to transport cholesterol from the liver to the bloodstream so that cholesterol can do its vital important functions, such as cholesterol makes all of your steroidal hormones. DHEA, estrogen, testosterone, progesterone, they are all building blocks. They're all made from cholesterol. So LDL actually transports that cholesterol from your liver to your bloodstream, so then it can get to the destination where it needs to do its job. Cholesterol is also very important for creating and repairing cells in the body. It synthesizes vitamin D and other numerous vital functions. And HDL is the lipoprotein which transports cholesterol from the bloodstream and then kind of recycles it back to the liver. So these terms, good and bad, by nature are not really a reality. There's no such thing as good and bad cholesterol, is that there is cholesterol that is carried from the liver to parts of the body to do its job. And then there's the cholesterol that through the HDL carries it from the blood back to the liver. And they're both vital. They both serve a purpose. And I just kind of like to stop using the terms good and bad cholesterol. I think that by nature is not a truth. So here's some truths about heart disease and about cholesterol. It's the oxidation of cholesterol that causes heart disease. So we're going to talk about oxidation. What what that means and how that is important and understanding how to stop that from happening. More people have heart attacks with normal cholesterol than those that actually have elevated cholesterol. There's a higher death rate with people with low cholesterol than high. And statin drugs, cholesterol drugs, lower cholesterol, but they do not prevent death from a heart attack. And these are stats, not my stats, but they're from the New England Journal of Medicine. And cholesterol is the body's repair substance. It's a healing substance. It's an antioxidant. Whenever there's inflammation in your body, especially in your arteries, your liver has to produce more cholesterol to repair the damage. So when we look at cholesterol, that's actually the kind of the molecular structure of cholesterol. But all of our cells have this double fat layer, and it's called your lipid bilayer. And it's kind of the main gateway for nutrients to come in and waste to come out of your cells. And cholesterol makes up the outside of this cell membrane, every single one of our cells. I just want to read some things about cholesterol. It's vital for the formation of memories. It's vital for your neurological function. And studies have shown that when you lower your cholesterol, it actually increases your risk of depression and suicide because of how vital cholesterol is for our brain. Your liver makes 80% of the cholesterol in your body. The remaining 20% of cholesterol comes from your diet. However, dietary cholesterol is absorbed at a rate between 20 to 60%, depending on how much you consume. The rest is made by your liver. It's like your body's going to naturally try to get this cholesterol to reach kind of a balance point in the body that your body needs. So the less cholesterol you eat, the more your liver's going to make. The more you eat in your diet, then your liver's going to compensate and make less. But cholesterol is vital. That's why your body makes 80% of it. It makes it for a reason. And when we look at the trouble with statin medications, if you look at this chart, these are certain types of enzymes and different molecules in the body. But when you look over there where we have statins circled, when you take a statin or a cholesterol drug, it stops this pathway. Well, this is the pathway that actually not only produces cholesterol, but it produces a product down here, ubiquinone, is CoQ10. And CoQ10 is a vital enzyme that our heart needs, muscles need for energy. So that's a big problem with statins, is that when you take a cholesterol drug, it's going to stop your body to producing as much cholesterol, but it's also going to downstream affect many other issues in the body, including the production of CoQ10. So the dangers of cholesterol medications: statin drugs, they work by inhibiting a vital enzyme that manufactures cholesterol in the liver. The problem is that your brain is made up of 60% cholesterol. Our bodies need cholesterol. And if you lower cholesterol with drugs, the brain and the nervous tissue will actually begin to deteriorate. So, and you block serotonin uptake sites, and that can cause depression. I've seen that firsthand. These patients that are on statin medications, it affects their memory. It can affect their just their overall how they feel. It can affect depression. And then another problem is CoQ10 production is inhibited when you take a statin. So CoQ10 helps reduce inflammation, and it protects you from cancer and aging. It's also the primary building block for cells in your brain and your nervous system. So if you've ever taken a statin or you take one, you absolutely need to consider supplementing CoQ10, because your body is not really producing it anymore, because that pathway is being blocked by taking that statin medication. So why do we need cholesterol? I want you to kind of, at the end of this webinar, to not fear cholesterol, to know that your cholesterol is a good thing in your body, and don't kind of freak out if you're being told you have higher than recommended cholesterol. It's high for a reason. We may need to make some lifestyle changes, but here's why we need cholesterol. Here's some major benefits of it. Your cell membrane is made from cholesterol. It helps with mitochondrial function, which is how our bodies produce energy. Cholesterol is a precursor to hormones in your body, especially your sex hormones, your adrenal hormones are produced from cholesterol. So if you're taking a statin and you're blocking cholesterol production, you're going to also affect your sex hormones in your body as well too. It activates the release of neurotransmitters like serotonin, GABA, and dopamine, which help you to feel happy, calm, help you to think straight. So, you don't want to be not having that. You want to be able to feel good. It supports digestion and bile production. It helps protect you from infections. It's required for a healthy immune system. It reduces inflammation. Cholesterol is used for vitamin D production. It's a repair substance that actually helps to repair free radical damage in the body. And it's vital for a healthy brain and healthy brain function. So, man, this is why when I hear people taking statins, I get very concerned, because I know that downstream, when you are blocking your body's ability to make cholesterol, you are negatively affecting all these other things in your body. So cholesterol, these are kind of the cholesterol pathways, that how the body uses cholesterol to make all the sex hormones. So you hear of a lot of people having men, low testosterone, women, their thyroid's not working right. And cholesterol is vital for your hormones to be able to work right. It's also vital for vitamin D. Vitamin D is amazing for all diseases. It's great for the immune system, and sunlight converts cholesterol into vitamin D. So if you're not making enough cholesterol, if you're on a statin, it's also going to negatively affect your vitamin D levels as well. So low vitamin D is linked to everything. Any disease, whether it's cancer, autoimmune, respiratory issues, brain issues, thyroid issues, vitamin D is crucial. So you don't want to be messing with your body's ability to produce vitamin D through taking a statin. You want to actually make more vitamin D. I want to play this video. It's just it's a little bit of an older video, but for me, it just gets me every time about how badly these statins affect the brain function.
A provocative column we saw in the Wall Street Journal. It is about the drugs called statins. In fact, one of them, Lipitor, may be the most widely prescribed drug in the nation. But some people are claiming an unpublicized side effect from the medication: memory loss, difficulty concentrating, fuzzy thoughts. Today, 69-year-old Jane Brunsey loves volunteering for her granddaughter's middle school. But not long ago, her memory was so bad, while babysitting, she even lost track of her granddaughter.
I didn't want to talk on the phone because I couldn't think of what to say. I didn't know the words to answer people that asked me questions. I began to see the people I was talking to looking at each other kind of funny.
Her daughter, Kristen, was so concerned she explored getting Alzheimer's care for her mother and refused to let her babysit for her own grandchild.
It was devastating because she's just as important to Rachel as I am.
But Jane says it wasn't old age causing the memory problem. It was her cholesterol-lowering drug, or statin.
When I decided to stop taking Lipitor, within about 8 days, I would say I was back to normal. I literally had to change doctors in order to do that.
Statins are used by millions of Americans in the hope of reducing the risk of a heart attack. And while they've saved thousands of lives, they have well-known side effects like muscle cramping. But is there a less publicized side effect? Memory loss. Dr. Beatrice Gollum runs the Statin Effect Study, where for the past 6 years, patients on statins have been able to report their own side effects to her website.
Of the first 1,000 or so reports that came to our office, 48% of them reported memory problems.
These side effects, can they mimic serious diseases like Alzheimer's?
They don't remember where they went earlier that day, what they had for breakfast.
Pfizer, the maker of Lipitor, tells ABC in a statement that the clinical trial data, quote, does not establish a causal link between Lipitor and memory loss. But for Jane Brunsey, who now controls her cholesterol through diet, The link was clear.
Good. I don't want to be the person in a nursing home with the lowest cholesterol. You know, I would rather have a high cholesterol and have a life.
And now on call, Dr. Timothy Johnson, who is ABC News medical editor. Tim, what about this? Thousands of people reporting anecdotally everywhere.
So I just think that obviously that video is a few years old, but yet I hear this all the time with talking with patients and family members is brain fog, memory issues. And one of my questions is are these people on a statin? Are you on a statin? Because we know that affects the health of our brain. And these are also the dangers of these cholesterol medications: liver damage, joint pain, muscle fatigue, sexual dysfunction, deficiencies in your fat-soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K, heart failure. It limits your production against cholesterol, which helps protect you actually from getting cancer. And then it can cause cataracts, diabetes, all as a result of taking these medications. So you just have to really think, is the risk worth the reward? And when these studies have come out about cholesterol drugs and cholesterol, actually come to find out, you can have the highest cholesterol and it doesn't really increase your risk of dying of a heart attack or a stroke. That by itself is a myth, that our bodies need cholesterol. It's a building block for many things. And we have to stop thinking that cholesterol is this bad guy that we have to get as low as possible. Our bodies actually need cholesterol. So the other thing with heart disease is the silent killer, high blood pressure. What causes high blood pressure? Well, the cause is also the cure of high blood pressure. One of the main causes of high blood pressure is inflammation. When you look at this picture of these arteries, that top one is a normal artery where blood can flow through and it works great. The second is a narrowed artery, and the third is a totally occluded artery. But when you have inflammation, it actually can start to swell up your blood vessels and to start to shrink them, which will inherently raise your blood pressure. So we got to work on reducing this inflammation so our vessels start to kind of open back up and our blood pressure comes down. So what causes inflammation? What causes high blood pressure? High amounts of insulin in our diet, which is going to come from high amounts of sugar in our diet, will cause inflammation. Essential fatty acid deficiencies. When you are low in omega-3s and higher in omega-6s, it's going to create this fatty acid imbalance, which drives inflammation. Deficiencies in B vitamins and also chronic stress are sources of inflammation. And I'll dive into this a little bit more. So inflammation means we have high insulin in the body. How do we get high insulin? It comes from our diets being high in sugar, high in grains, high in refined carbohydrates will cause an increase in your blood sugar. And then your body, when you have increased high blood sugar, it's going to increase your release of insulin to get that high sugar out of your bloodstream and into your cells. And that's going to produce an inflammatory response. So ultimately, the moral of the story is sugar causes inflammation. High sugar levels result in high insulin, which also results in this inflammatory cascade, which all results in driving high blood pressure, and inflammation also drives all aspects of heart disease. So many studies have been found that like a paleo type diet lowers blood pressure. Why? Because it's lowering your amount of inflammatory foods like sugar and refined grains and breads and pastas. So this is kind of a good food pyramid to follow. At the bottom of every healthy diet should be, our main thing we're consuming should be vegetables. That should be the main source of our calories of our diet is vegetables. Second, on there, it could be healthy meats, things like grass-fed beef, organic type chicken, or good seafood like wild-caught salmon, good pasture-raised eggs. We want to have healthy fats as well, avocados, olives, healthy coconut products, nuts and seeds, healthy animal fats as well, olive oil, and then fruit that's in season. Another study that was done found a Mediterranean diet lowers blood pressure. A Mediterranean diet, same thing. The base of it is going to be lots of fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds, good healthy type proteins, good type of dairy, but limited amounts of refined sugars and pastas and grains. You're not going to have as much of that in a Mediterranean type diet. A study found that those who ate the most vegetables and fruits have a quarter of the risk of hypertension. So ultimately, you got to eat heart healthy foods. These are going to be your kind of fresh vegetables, fresh fruits, things like wild caught salmon, grass-fed beef, nuts, seeds. And you're wanting to avoid mainly a lot of the packaged processed type foods that are kind of standard American diet foods. We want to avoid that type of food. A risk of your cardiac death and omega-3s. So it's shown that 90% risk reduced based on your omega-3 levels. Much the higher your omega-3s in your blood, you're lower your risk of heart disease. So that should kind of be something that I think most doctors should be prescribing people is take omega-3s. That is absolutely going to reduce your risk of heart disease versus getting on cholesterol drugs that when actually studied found that they don't actually reduce your risk of having a heart attack or a stroke. So there are a few things that I recommend for people to consider taking supplement-wise to really help their risk of heart disease. One is going to be omega-3s, obviously. Omega-3s are in our men and women's essential packs. We also just have omega-3s as well, but so crucial. You got to supplement your omegas. They're absolutely great for reducing your risk of heart disease. And most people don't eat enough fatty fish like salmon. They're not eating a ton of things like flax seeds or chia seeds. They're not getting a ton of omegas from their diet, and they are essential. So you got to supplement them. So fish oil is one of those things I always take, and I'm glad it's in the women's pack because I take that every day. Another one is B vitamins. You got to have adequate B to also keep your heart healthy, keep your arteries and veins healthy too. Vitamin D is amazing for preventing all diseases, but also heart disease. And magnesium is needed for over 300 kind of chemical reactions in the body require magnesium. So that's another reason why I kind of always recommend in general, the men's and women's daily essential boxes are great because they're going to kind of provide you a basic multivitamin with all the good kind of natural whole food type things that we're lacking in our diet. It fills in the gaps. It has a high dose B complex, 2 omega-3 capsules, vitamin D, and magnesium. So I kind of think across the board, you can feel good about it, that is very good for your heart as well as many other things as well too. And then grass-fed protein is good for smoothies. And then your max greens, getting those good vegetables in your diet. That's another good way to add these things in as well too. These are some other heart health products that if you are on the webinar and you do suffer with, different things, heart related, there is a supplement called blood pressure support. It's an herbal type blend that naturally helps to balance blood pressure. So with blood pressure, ultimately you have to fix the cause, which is inflammation. So you got to cut the sugar out of the diet, cut the refined carbohydrates, the breads, the pastas, cut those way down, eat a lot more vegetables. You got to exercise. Those two things will lower blood pressure amazingly. But if it's still an issue, then taking something like the BP support can really help you as well, especially if you're not wanting to be on a prescription for your blood pressure. The blood pressure support is a good option. Omega-3s are great for optimizing cholesterol. But the second thing here, black cumin seed oil, has also been shown to really do great at balancing cholesterol in your body, not forcing it too high or too low, but it helps your body to optimize cholesterol levels. And it's very anti-inflammatory. And that's a good one if you're wanting to do natural things for cholesterol and not be on a statin. Black cumin seed oil is a great thing to try. Red yeast rice plus CoQ10. That's going to have a similar effect, but not to the harsh extent of a statin. So it is one where if I have a patient who is wondering about getting off their statin because they don't like all the bad effects of it, but they still want to do something to bring their levels down, the red yeast rice is something that can help to accomplish that. CoQ10 is another heart-related product. CoQ10, especially if you have taken a statin in the past or you're currently on one, then you really, really, really need to take CoQ10 to protect your heart. And it's also kind of the big thing for energy in the body, so to kind of help compensate for the fact that you're no longer making it because you're on that statin. So those are kind of the main ones. If you're really looking into what should you take for heart, next level type stuff, these would be the things I would recommend. That black cumin seed oil is great for cholesterol optimization. And then the red yeast rice is good if you're really wanting to lower cholesterol, which I encourage you that it's at its level for a reason. Your body's making it for a reason. So with the products, all of our Max Living products, they would be 15% off in the office this week. So if you're on the webinar and you are thinking, yeah, maybe I should be on that BP support, or maybe I'll try the black cumin seed oil to help see what that does for my cholesterol, you can get those in. All you have to do is tell us when you come in that you were on the webinar. Just say Heart Strong, and we'll give you 15% off that. Any of those products, the men's and women's essentials, really anything. If you're on the webinar and you need, to get your products, and we'll give you a discount as a thank you for watching this webinar, and you can come in there and do that. You can also get supplements on the website, drbensonmaxliving.com. You're just not going to get a discount, but you can go online and order those products as well too. So with the last few things I'm going to share in this webinar today is just going to be understanding about the nervous system and all things heart related and blood pressure related too. So along your nervous system, there's a major nerve called your vagus nerve. It either puts our body in a state of parasympathetic rest digest or sympathetic fight and flight. So when the body's in balance, the body can go between these two nervous system states. What tends to happen though is that when we do not have the good curve in the neck through looking down at a computer all day or at a cell phone, or just injuries, accidents can start to straighten the curve in the neck. Patients, you guys know that you've seen your x-rays, whether or not you have that good curve in the neck, but that vagal nerve, that vagus nerve, when that nerve gets stressed, it tends to kind of always flip the body into that fight or flight type state. Which is where it's stressed, which ultimately most times can affect blood pressure, can affect heart rate, it can affect respiration, digestion. So through chiropractic care and getting this neck adjusted and helping that curvature, when it can help to put the body in more of a relaxed state, which helps to lower blood pressure and also helps to decrease stress on our whole nervous system. So studies have found this with chiropractic adjustments can help lower your blood pressure on average 14 points systolic, 8 points diastolic, because of how that affects that vagal nerve and kind of putting the body in more of a relaxed state versus a stress state when you help to take pressure off the nervous system. And on the inside of the body, that's what that looks like. When you have the good curve in the neck, that spinal cord's nice and relaxed. When the neck stretches, it straightens that spinal cord, and then it starts to stress the nervous system. So if you happen to be watching this webinar and you have high blood pressure, or maybe you have things like headaches, neck pain, numbness, tingling, digestive issues, these are all signs that your nervous system could be out of balance, and you may need to get your spine checked. So at the bottom of this screen, you'll see you can call into our office or you can visit our website, drbenson.maxliving.com. And if you're looking for getting healthy naturally, helping to, get to the cause of high blood pressure issues and just wanting to overall feel better, you can call in or you can go to our website and schedule a complimentary consultation to sit down and talk with me, and we'll discuss your health issues and we'll see how we can work on getting you on the right track and getting your body working better, feeling better, and getting checked. So you can do those, and that's our website, drbenson.maxliving.com. You can make your appointment. You'll just see that little tab. You schedule your free consultation, and then our office will contact you once you fill that out, and we'll make sure we set up a good time for you to come in. We also have great resources for heart health. And when you're in the office, you watch the webinar, you want a little bit more information, we can give you these perspectives on cardio health as well. Our website is a great website for recipes, for heart healthy recipes. You can get on there and learn about recipes that are low sugar, low carbohydrate, and things that are really help reduce your risk of heart disease as well. And then make sure we exercise. That's important. Make sure throughout the winter we're getting outside, we're getting moving. That is crucial for all things heart, all things health related. So we have to get moving as well. So thank you guys for watching the webinar. There are additional resources that we can give you. I just ask that if you have watched this, share it. This will continue. You can watch it at any time. You can go back and watch it, but share it with friends, share it with family, and ultimately know that your body is amazing. It's built to heal. It's built to be healthy from the inside. So don't be freaked out if you go to the doctor and they tell you your cholesterol is high. Don't just start taking that statin medication. Know that, hey, there are lifestyle things you can do. We can clean up the diet. And ultimately, that cholesterol is so vital for many things in our body. And same thing with blood pressure. There's always, you got to get to the cause of blood pressure. You got to clean up the diet. You got to get exercising. You got to get your adjustments, and you'll see that blood pressure come down. And I just encourage you guys to take action, take a few things that you've learned from this webinar and just implement them. And thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.